Okay, for these questions, you really need to know what the m and the b are when you're looking at equations of a line. These are the key variables that you need to be able to understand, figure out, and manipulate. So let's look at these two questions. They're kind of cousins. They work together because one of them has a fraction as a slope and the other one has a whole number. But the truth is that this is actually a fraction in disguise. It's a number 3/1. It's good to write that right away so you recognize, if you're looking at rise over run, that this is 3/1. But let's go with this one first. What do we need? What information do we need to graph this? M equals a half, because y equals mx plus b. The m is always the number before the x, and the b is always the number after it. And the b is also, it's lonely. It's out there on the edge, and it doesn't have an x or a y beside it. So if the equation is in this form, then it's easy to get your m and your b. Your slope is m, and b is the y-intercept. This is key. You have to know this kind of stuff inside out. You've got to practice it. Make sure you know it. So b is equal to 3, and we can go ahead and graph that. I'm doing kind of sketchy graphs, but basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not exact, but for the purposes of this, the y-intercept here is going to go through the point 0, 3, right? Because the line is going through 3, which is equivalent to 0, 3. Because the y, well, that's a good question actually. Why do we just put 0 in front of that? Well, because we know that's the y-intercept. So it's where the line crosses the y-axis. Now here's the thing. If you think about it, line crossing the y-axis, what is the x-coordinate at that point? I hope you're thinking about that, maybe answering that in your head. It is 0. Why? Because as the line crosses the y-axis, that's the place where x is 0. Let's look at the graph and we'll show it graphically. So we're going to get this 1/2. That means rise over run. So m equals 1/2. That means we're going to go up 1 over 2, right? To get our second point, and our second point is 2, 4. Not that it matters too much that we write that down. We just need to draw the line, because it says graph the line. And there it is, okay? I'm going to erase that for a second, and I'll put rise over run, because that's what it is. Rise up 1, right? Up 1, make a triangle, and up 1, okay? Up 1, and over 2. Those are both positive. That's your slope. This is your graph. And voila, as they say in français, voilà, c'est fini. That's all you got to do. Now, let's talk about this one. Very similar. If you can do this one, really, you can do this one. Why? Again, m is equal to 3/1. That means the rise over run is 3 for the rise. So we can also call that the change in y of the change in x. All right, this triangle means change, and that means we go up 3 and right 1. Why up and why right? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. If it's positive, it's up. Positive change in y is up. A negative change in y is elevator going down. So that's it. Think of the elevator for the y value change, elevator going up. If it's positive, elevator going down for the negative. Now, positive on the right would be for the horizontal or x value change, going right, positive going left, negative. Think if you stick shift, going right, going left, positive right, negative left. And there's a whole story behind that. In good old days, Latin, sinistro was a word for sinister, meaning left was kind of sinister, dark. And it wasn't really fair to left-handed people. So left and right is pretty neutral. There's nothing in the word left that is any less, doesn't imply anything sinister. The word left is, it's good to be left-handed. You could be a switch hitter too, left and right, no problem. All right, let's move back to the problem and let's finish graphing it. And let's do this, here we go. And it's, again, relatively simple. They're both positive. we start with b equal to 1, which is the point 0, 1. And this is right, I'll do this, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's your y-intercept at 0, 1, okay? And then we go up 3, right? Rise 3, 1, 2, 3, from there. Sometimes students get confused, they go from 0, 0. No, you're going from this point, 1, 2, 3, over 1 to that point, and you are drawing the line, and there it is. That is the graph of the line. That's all they're asking. Graph this equation. You should remember to put your axes in. You also want to put the actual equation in there. That's just part of our conventions. We also want to label our origin, and we really should put lines on our axes as well. So that's a complete graph. Same thing up here. Just to be complete about it, we put arrows on the axes, we label the origin, and we also put the equation of the line. This is the thing that a lot of people forget, but put the equation of the line right there, and there you have two complete graphs. So really just have to practice that. It's great practice to run through rise over run, how it works on a graph. Remember, negative is left on the x value change or the horizontal, and right is positive, up is positive, elevator going down is negative. Next question.